Hello everyone, GrimmmReviews here with yet another Transformers review, and today we will be exploring the disappointing world of dollar store Transformers. Released in 2017, the Transformers Authentics Toyline was marketed as a line of budget-friendly toys of select Transformer characters that would appear across variety stores. These evergreen products, or products that can stay on shelves year-round, have since branched out into several sublines such as the original line of Authentics Alpha figures, the Cybertron Battlers line, and the Clipbots line. In 2024, the Authentics Alpha line of figures were phased out of stores, and in its place arrived 4 brand new molds under the new Authentics Bravo line. The 4 characters chosen for this line were Optimus Prime, Megatron, Bumblebee, and Grimlock. This brings us to today, where we will be taking a closer look at 3 of the 4 available Authentics Bravo figures. The first one that we will be taking a look at is Authentics Megatron. Starting off with Megatron's vehicle mode, we can see that he turns into a pretty run-of-the-mill tank, primarily made of this kind of dull drab gray, with a couple red accents on the rear treads and this purple Decepticon badge on top, really popping against the gray plastic. We also get this giant solid black cannon on top that's stuck in this front-facing firing position and can be easily removed from the top of the vehicle. This mode has a little uniqueness to it with this partial H-tank front and a lot of molded in detail that does add some character to this thing. But the lack of any real features and the fact this is just a guy laying down on his stomach really doesn't help this guy stand out as either a toy or a tank. He just kind of exists. This guy, as well as all the Authentics figures, have very simple transformations. All you have to do on this guy is take this gun and just kind of pop it off, remove it, set it off to the side. Then we're going to take his legs and we're just going to fold these out, these little treads. Fold them out all the way, and then we're going to rotate them so that way the feet face forward. And this is a problem I constantly have with these figures, is that the limbs love to pop off. They're just on these little ball joints, so you just pop them back in. So there we have the legs. Then you just want to rotate the arms down, and on the inside here, you have these little wrists, and all you have to do is kind of flip that out. Flip out the hand, go to the other side, take the other hand, and flip that out as well. And then lastly, you just take the giant cannon, little peg here, little hole here, and you just plug that in. And there we have Megatron in his robot mode. Now, at first glance, this guy really doesn't look too bad. Everything about him does scream Megatron, from the classic chest design, the hulking robot boots and hefty fusion cannon, all the way to his iconic bucket head complete with some killer silver paint on this very nice face sculpt. But then you look at the back, and he just becomes a full-on turtle lugging around the entire hull of the tank. For articulation, this guy is limited. His head has no rotation, his arms can rotate a full 360, if you can clear this turtle back here, which you can. His legs can only move outward and have no forward or back rotation due to this full piece right here. He has no knee bend, but his knees can bend inward. The only other piece of articulation he has is that his wrists can rotate 360, but why would you want to do that? Because they pop straight off. All this basically means that this guy cannot pose at all, and anything that he does try to do makes him look super awkward. There's really not much you can do here with this guy. Overall, this guy looks fine on the surface, but is kind of a mess for a figure made in 2024. I know these are supposed to be made for a younger audience, but a couple tweaks could have really made this guy into a pretty cool figure. But as he is, he's just kind of meh at best. And to get this guy back into his tank mode, all you have to do is remove the cannon, fold back in the arms, and please be careful, this already popped off. Alright, re-pop in the hand, and then fold it in, like so. Take the other wrist, and then fold that in as well. Rotate the arms up, so he's pointing towards the sky. Take the legs, and then just kind of rotate the legs around, like so, and then fold those in on himself, so that way they collapse up here, like that. Take the gun, then you have a port here, peg here, port here, and that just kind of tabs in like that. And there we have Megatron back in his tank mode. Moving on here we have Optimus Prime in his vehicle mode. Optimus turns into this very basic looking truck mode. He is primarily made out of this red and gray plastic with some light blue windshields and some darker blue paint here on the back. Overall, if this guy was a piece of food, he would be boiled chicken. gets the job done, but no flavor whatsoever. But yeah, overall, I really am not feeling this vehicle mode. But to get Optimus in his robot mode, all you have to do is take these panels and untab them and move them up like that. And these panels are very thin, very flimsy, and they do not feel good to move in the slightest. They kind of get, I don't like that. So you move those out like so. Take this back section, move it down like that. Rotate the waist, so that way the legs move forward. Then lastly, this little panel here, you are going to flip up to reveal Optimus's head. And again, another issue I'm having here is that these like to pop off a lot, and he also doesn't like to stand. He's a little rebel. And wow, who let this guy be made? This design is downright awful. Prime here is stuck in this forever chicken dance pose, with his arms being these giant panels, forcing his arms into a 90-degree bend, and his legs are just one giant slab that can only bend at the waist. The only redeeming thing is, I guess, is this guy's head. It's not the best design in the world, but it looks nice enough, and I am always a sucker for some silver paint. For articulation, this guy can flap like a chicken. I just give up. His waist can rotate a full 360 degrees. His legs have no movement, but he can kind of bend at the waist. So he can kind of get this little jump and hobble going on at the most. Overall, this guy is a complete embarrassment in my eyes. There's no reason for a figure this bad to exist on shelves. There are basically no redeeming qualities with this figure, and he is so weak compared to Megatron. I am not impressed at all. And to get this guy back into his vehicle mode, all you have to do is flip down the head, rotate the waist, flip in the legs, and then you're going to take these panels and you're just going to reattach it and move it inward and just kind of push these together so that way they all just kind of fit on the front. And again, for some reason, getting these things to cooperate sometimes is such a needless pain. Why is this being stuck? There we go. And there we go. There we have Optimus back in his truck mode. And finally, here we have Authentics Grimlock in his Dino mode. And out of the 3 alt modes we have here, I think this guy is probably the best we have. Grimlock is made out of a lot of this dark gray plastic, but he is rocking these golden arms, tail, and chest pieces with some dashes of red here on the thighs, and some splashes of sky blue here in the eyes. For articulation, Grimlock's legs can rotate a full 360 degrees. His dino arms are on this little swivel here so they can rotate up and down with ease. On the back here, his tail is in 2 pieces so it can rotate here higher up, and his little segment here can rotate lower down. His head can technically get a little bit of up and down movement, but the moment you move it up the slightest, it kind of reveals his little cavity and his little robot head. But still, it's something that you can push if you wanted to. But overall, this guy has some decent articulation for the Dino mode, all things considered. And yeah, this Dino mode is definitely the highlight of all 3 modes so far. I am actually pleasantly surprised by the effort put into this thing. And to get this guy into robot mode, what you have to do is take this and remove this part of the tail like so. Take this segment, grab it, and fold out the legs. Next up, we're going to take his dino legs and just kind of rotate them down. And we're going to take his head here and we are going to fold this back. And lastly, we are going to take these little wing segments and we are going to fold them out. But there's been a bit of an issue here. For some reason, they designed this in a way to where it's basically impossible to get these open without, clearing the shoulders. So what you have to do is basically, on the back here is, this little thing here. So you have to kind of grab it and lift it all the way up on this little peg in order to give it enough clearance to fully rotate without just kind of bending it and risking breaking it. Like I've tried bending the arm down here and it gets caught on this little plastic piece here. I tried bending it up like this and it still gets caught. So that is the only way to do it without risking bending it and maybe even breaking it in the future. So yeah, just kind of grab it, extend it, and then you can rotate it and push it back down. And there we have Grimlock in his robot mode. And all you can do is you can take this little tail piece, and on the end of his foot here is a little hole. And then you can just kind of plug that in, and then you can have him equipped with this little tail weapon. And yeah, this guy is definitely Grimlock. His design is very classic, with his bright golden chest and back kibble comprised of his dino head and arm flaps. Like Prime, Grimlock has these molded hands on the interior of his arms, and his legs are just one giant slab, meaning articulation is again just a concept with this guy. Grimlock has a stark black head with a sky blue visor, overall looking exactly like his G1 counterpart in the best of ways. For articulation, this guy's arms can rotate a full 360 degrees. Grimlock's waist can also rotate a full 360 degrees. And his legs are at the slab and can bend at the knee, and that's really it. And this guy in particular makes me really upset because he is so close to being an amazing Grimlock figure. If only his legs were separate and had articulation, this guy would be such a good toy in my opinion. I mean, as he is perfectly fine, I suppose. Although I feel like these wings are in danger of being broken by children by the way the engineering is. Overall, these Authentics Bravo figures are very underwhelming, even for budget toys. Megatron is mostly fine with a pretty boring alt mode and paint job, but a decent enough robot mode for kids to play with. The fact his legs aren't fused together is a huge plus in my eyes, and the fact that his hands are actually there and can even rotate at least allows this guy to kind of get some poses in. Yes, his backpack is insane, but as far as this line goes, Megatron is probably the most all-around solid figure of the bunch. Grimlock is also mostly fine. His dino mode looks pretty nice in my eyes. It's not as sleek as his G1 counterpart, but the updated look doesn't look bad at all. On top of that, you can actually get a little movement with the alt mode, which is a huge plus. The only things that are really keeping me from putting this guy above Megatron are the wings and the leg slab. I think a kid is going to very easily break these off by accident, and the fact these legs aren't separated makes the figure look a little dorky. At the very least, I can see this guy fitting in with my little Grimlock display that I'm slowly building, but other than that, there's really not much use for him. But Prime, oh Prime, what did they do to you? His truck mode is bland but inoffensive, but robot mode? Downright atrocious. And in my eyes, this thing is a straight embarrassment to the toy line. Am I being a bit harsh? Yeah, maybe. But these arm panels feel so fragile and lazy. Combine that with a giant leg slab and this guy just looks bad. Just a bad figure with bad engineering and terrible articulation. This guy isn't even worth the time, let alone the money. All three of these figures are a bit of a letdown. The designs and engineering on these things feel mostly thoughtless. An overall underwhelming line of figures that are bound to disappoint most children who have the misfortune of being gifted these. With these figures ranging from a price from $5 to $10, I would recommend just getting a figure from the Cyberworld line instead now that those are out. This has been GrimmmReviews. Thank you all very much for tuning in, and please do not buy these figures. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.